Hi, and welcome to another match preview we've got today for you guys. I'm joined with Mehul again, Mr. Bad Luck for Man City. That's what I had to call him on ahead of the massive game we've got. I think this is the biggest preview that we've done on this channel. So smash the like and subscribe as well. And if you're new around here, check out our Instagram and also check out Mehul and his boys' Instagram page as well. It's called Talking Barefoot. I'll put the link in the description. Check that out. They do loads of cool videos, lots of Instagram lives, and lots of topics and debates. But yeah, Mehul, what are you saying about the season? Man City, obviously, you guys have won the league now. It's confirmed. You've lifted it as well as you can see in the background. What are your overall thoughts on a good season for you guys?
Yeah. Yeah, just thanks for inviting me on the podcast. And I had to think twice, thrice before coming because of the bad luck you mentioned. But I was like, maybe third time's the charm. And that is why I want to break all jinxes. This time, City and me, we're breaking all jinxes. So, yeah, great to do this preview. I'm very excited for it. And about City season, I think the last time we talked, it was sort of, I was there for the FA Cup semi-final. Yeah. And I think City season has gone as we wanted it to be, because I remember telling that time that, this is probably the least important game for us, the FA Cup semi-final. And it turned out to be that way, that we didn't really play up to the mark in that game. And since then, it's kind of been, we've got the Premier League without doing much. Like, we've just played our second string teams for the last, say, 1.5 months. We've got over the line with that. We got the Carabao Cup. And now the big one, the Champions League. So I think the entire season has panned out way well, way beyond our expectations, because when we were talking about in October, November, nobody would have thought that City are going to sort of be challenging for all trophies and then probably win 2 of them and in the Champions League final. So this is huge for City already. Now it's just about winning on a high, ending the season with the trophy.
It's weird you say that, because like you said, back in October, November time, like, I think almost everyone wrote you guys off in terms of challenging for trophies, let alone the Premier League, Champions League, or whatever. Like, people would think that you wouldn't even win the Carabao Cup or FA Cup with how your form was going. But I know a lot of pundits and a lot of commentators and all that and experts say that the game at Stamford Bridge really changed your season when you guys won 3-1. I really believe that, because even though we had Lampard in charge, I don't think we could have done anything about what City did that day. Like, it was like watching the City of old from like 1 or 2 seasons ago, and it's just like, you got to put your hands up and say fair play, which is why I'm scared for this final, because I know what Man City are capable of. Like, we've seen what these group of players can do. We've seen what for the past 4 or 5 years what they can do. So in that sense, even though we've beaten you guys twice on the bounce, it's great, but I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know what the word for it is, but I don't feel proper excited for it in a sense, because like you said, it was your half your B team, half your A team. So, but for us, we've been playing almost our strongest teams as well. So that's why I'm like, our strongest team against maybe your B team / A team could beat you guys. Well, we proved that we have, but a full strength City team is, I don't know, it's a next level challenge. So that's why going into this, it should be no pressure for us, because obviously we've qualified for the top 4, but at the same time we've reached another final, and Chelsea really need to get over this hurdle of not bottling finals, because what's this now? I think there was a stat, we've lost 9 of the past finals or something like that. I think
11 finals or something.
That's it, something like that. I think the only ones we've won were, I believe, Tottenham in, I think, 14-15, which I think was a Carabao Cup, and I think Arsenal in Baku. I think those are the 2. I can't remember any others. But we really need to get over this hurdle, and plus the fact that we've got a new set of players as well. It's not even like we've got like big characters, big final game players like Drogba, Lampard, John Terry, obviously Petr Cech as well. So it's a difficult one to judge and discuss about, to be honest. But any team news then ahead of the game on Saturday?
Yeah, I think we're doing the podcast just on the right time, because we've got a massive news from City that Gundogan sort of limped off the training ground. So he had a clash with Fernandinho, and he's they're saying it's probably a knock, probably just a dead leg, but we'll probably get more news tomorrow or something like that. So it's a scare on the eve of the final. So
is that a massive loss in the fact that you've got a good squad, or do you think?
I tell you why it is a massive loss. It's because Gondwan is a top scorer in the Premier League first. Nobody expected that at the start of the season. That he chipped in with a lot of goals and sort of elevated his game in terms of, like, I remember City fans not liking the Rodri Gondwan duo in midfield, the double pivot, because it's sort of used to handicap us going forward, which is why the last couple of seasons we've been we don't want Gondwan and Rodri. But then Pep pushed Gondwan forward, and since then he's making those sort of late darts into the box, almost Lampard most of his goals are like that. He makes those late runs. The goals are very similar to what Lampard did. So I think he's been very, very key for us, and he's chipped in with so many goals. He had that entire run of around 11 to 15 games where he was scoring virtually every game. So that was huge for us. And probably when others, De Bruyne was sort of injured, he didn't have the best of forms, for a part of the season, and somebody had to step up, and it had to be Gondwan. So I think he is very, very important to the City side. And losing him means that probably De Bruyne is going to come back from his false nine to the midfield, and then we can probably put another attacker in Torres or Sterling or even Aguero. Or maybe Pep starts Rodri and Fernandinho both in sort of a double pivot, and then Bernardo can roam around in midfield free. So I don't know. Maybe I think it'll be the former, in the sense that I think he'll start only one of Rodri and Fernandinho, and maybe start an attacker, and De Bruyne goes back into his natural position. But Gondwan sort of gives us that defensive shield as well. He can
do both as well. Yeah.
He's very good at recovering and sort of pinching the ball in midfield from and starting a counter attack or an attack. So he's very good at that, and we sort of need that in especially a final. And Gondwan has already played a Champions League final with Dortmund. He scored in that game as well. So he has that experience as well. And he's going to be a huge miss if he doesn't play. But of course, we are more than capable of playing without him. But of course, he's I think City's starting 11 is almost set in stone. And Gondwan is a huge part of it. So of course, it's going to be a miss,
Yeah, we'll get onto the starting 11 just a bit later on. But we'll get into team news for Chelsea. So obviously, Edouard Mendy went off injured at halftime against Villa. There was no issues there. It was just precautionary. I think he just had to take a knock to the ribs when trying to go for Traore's goal. So he was back in training, I think, Tuesday, Wednesday. Same with Kante as well. Kante had a slight knock. I think it was precautionary. I believe it was against Leicester, where he got taken off at halftime. That was another precautionary thing as well. So that we've got a fully fit squad actually. I don't think anyone's injured. Maybe by the time this is released, something might have come, but let's hope not. Fingers crossed. We have a fully fit squad and stuff, and like you're saying, it's a bit difficult now with Tuchel, because this past, say, 3 weeks, I'd say, he's looked a bit suspect in the terms of the team selections, because we've dropped a lot of points in the league. A prime example was Arsenal, and obviously Aston Villa losing the FA Cup final as well. And 2 of those times he's admitted to choosing the team wrong. That's why I'm like, I don't know. It's a bit nervy. We're hitting bad form at the worst time as well. But at the same time, I go into this game with no pressure at all on us, because I like it that way. I actually feel, I don't know if you agree with me or not, but I feel City need this victory more than us, with the fact that they haven't got a Champions League yet. Obviously we do, and all the debates about Klopp and Pep would just end if City pick up the victory on Saturday as well. I think that's another factor. So I actually feel like it's better for us that we're underdogs in this, but as we have been throughout the whole Champions League campaign, because nobody gave us a chance against Atletico. Even I didn't, to be fair. I thought we'd be out in the round of 16 again, because we're cursed in that round. Just like you're cursed on coming on here every time. But and then on to Porto. I did expect us to win there, because it was Porto at the end of the day. I mean, they beat Juventus, but look where Juventus are. They're crap this season, aren't they? So and then we get onto Real Madrid, where I was a bit, I don't know, it's 50-50. But Kante, but I've always said Kante's been the man for the Champions League this season. Because he's carried us through Atletico Madrid. He did really well with the second leg. I can't remember if he played first leg, but I remember him being really good the first leg. Even against Porto as well, he was sensational. And then he showed everyone how good he was against Real Madrid. Perfect player for that game. But interesting enough, I'm not sure if I would start him in the final, just because of how badly it went for him against Man City in the first game of the league. And I've always said, like, Kante against a high-pressing team doesn't bode well for us. And Kovacic and Jorginho would be the better two in midfield for a team like that. But saying that, Kante has played well in the 2 games that we played against Man City, but I've always said it's not the Man City, but just because of the team that Pep's put out for those. So I'm not really sure, but how would you say your Champions League campaign's gone then this season? Is there any point where you're like, oh, I think we're out?
Yeah, I think the most scary leg sort of was the Dortmund where we conceded in the first 15 minutes, the Jude Bellingham goal. That's when we sort of
we go again. We're sort of going out probably again. But then I think shown some immense character this season.
Coming back, it's something which we don't do a lot. Like, we need that first goal and cement our position, in the game. But this season we've come back against PSG. We came back against Dortmund. So that's huge for sort of that mentality, because City have always been told to lack that mentality when it comes to the Champions League, that psychological block, which was preventing us from qualifying from the quarterfinals. That was very important. Like Pep said, it was very important for us to cross that hurdle. And since then, it's sort of like against PSG, we were in the second leg, we were so confident. It was never like PSG were going to do anything, and we played our A game. And I think big players have stepped up. Like Mahrez is having the best time in a City shirt. It's almost like the Leicester Mahrez. We've not seen him like this. He's scoring goals, vital goals on big occasions, and he's stepping up. So in terms of, we've beaten some good teams in terms of Dortmund, PSG. Both teams are they have extremely good attacks, and our defense has been tested, but they've came through. And that is, I think, if you have a good defense, then you have a very good chance of going all the way in the Champions League. And I think that is what has changed for City in the past. Like, we haven't had the defenses which have those balls to sort of as themselves in the latter stages of the Champions League. And this season with Diaz and Stones probably resurrecting himself, and then Walker, all of them have been immense. And I think the psychological block is gone, and I think City have more desire, in the sense that they need it more, like you say. They need it more. Like, they've heard the taunts and the mockeries and all that you can win however Premier League you want, but at the end of the day, you have to win the Champions League for you to be considered a great team, or people remembering 5 years down the line that the City side won the Champions League. So I think everybody is very hungry for the Champions League. I think City, of course, I think Chelsea will go as underdogs, but then we saw again Villarreal and United. I mean, who would have expected that? So,
I did, to be fair. If you guys haven't seen my predictions, I did call Villarreal would win it. And really? I've obviously called Chelsea, so imagine my predictions turn out right. Oh my god, I won't shut up about it. Generally, that's part of the reason why I wanted Villarreal to win, just because I'm like, I want my prediction to be right. I want it to be right. But yeah, sorry, can't what you're saying, bro.
How's Kunal doing, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. I think he's still underground. I don't know if he's listening, bro. I hope you've recovered from the loss, man. But yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been able to say anything to anybody, because we play on Saturday, so we're like, it's not the right time to probably say. And then probably Sunday we can catch up with all the United fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's he's jokes. But just going on to the Europa League, just with the topic and stuff. What did you make of that final, by the way?
Yeah, I thought I thought United had no urgency, especially in extra time. Like, they thought they were playing for penalties. Like, there was no urgency, and you just can't take a final to the penalties, because penalties are always 50-50. Like, you can't say that we're going to win a penalty shootout, no matter who. Like, even a college side can probably beat one of the best sides.
It's true. Yeah.
The penalty shootout. So I thought United were probably dominant. They were dominating the entire match. They created a lot of chances, but I think they should have gone for it more. I think there was a lack of hunger, lack of intensity. They sort of felt that they're going to win it anyway. That sort of vibe was coming from the match. I think Villarreal, they were brilliant defensively. Like there were bodies all over. They were heading, clearances, all of that. And at the end, the team, I think, which sort of showed more passion and intent, they won it. And I think it's totally deserving. They won the first trophy of their lives, Villarreal. That's a huge thing. So
no, it's huge for them, yeah. With Emery as well, Arsenal fans are gonna like that.
There's a stat that the entire town of Villarreal can fit into Old Trafford, and then there'll be seats left, thousands of seats left still.
Wow.
So it's huge for them. Like United should be beating them comfortably, but that's what happens in finals, and that's why I'm not like out there saying the City are going to romp Chelsea, or even because there is obviously a gulf in terms of how City have played the season of Chelsea have. If Chelsea's season has been a roller coaster, City's has been a smooth sail since that October-November sort of bad run. And in on paper, if you feel it's going to be a City win, everybody is banking on City. They're going to win. They're easy favorites, but it's a final, and we've seen Villarreal United, so nobody can really say. Everything goes out of the window in a final, I feel, because and Chelsea have beaten City twice, even though it's our B team. It was our B team. I think Pep sort of played mind games with that Tuchel hasn't played a full strength City side. I think there was a reason he played those teams, even though we could have won the title on that very day. Yeah. He said that I thought that our B team sort of could have done the job then. But I think there was a reason he did not play that team, the full strength team that day. And it's all probably to get into the mind of the other manager. I mean, so many nuances and subplots, of course, there. So I feel City will be full strength and it will be a great game. I think I want it to be a great game, obviously. From a neutral perspective, as a City fan, I'm going to break it. I'm sure
we'll be both all, man. Every Chelsea City fan are going to hate this. Like, all the rival fans will love it, to be fair.
Yeah. But I just want some good quality football. Like, that's what we all want at the end.
I don't know. It's an English final. The last time we had that was Liverpool Spurs, and that was boring. Except if you're a Liverpool Tottenham fan, you wouldn't say so. That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow we'll probably say it's been a decent game, but the rival fans will be like, no, it's been a crap game, because realistically they're not. They don't really. Well, I don't know if they really care who wins, but I think that I don't know. It's an interesting one. I'm trying to think now. Who would rival fans prefer to win the Champions League, Chelsea or Manchester City? I think obviously City and Liverpool fans would want us to win, but the London clubs would want Manchester City to win. It's a weird one. But on the topic of penalties, would you feel less confident if it went to penalties, given Manchester City's penalty record?
Yeah, interestingly, like we have a bad penalty record because we've missed so many in the last, like under Pep, we've missed a lot of penalties. But City haven't lost a penalty shootout in over 10 years, I think. So we've played some seven penalty shootouts, I think 6 or 7, and we haven't lost one. So that gives us a little confidence in terms of that when it matters, then probably City go over the line. I remember that penalty shootout against Chelsea in the Carabao Cup final, if you remember. That was pretty tense. Well,
that was such a boring game until the shootout.
Yeah, that was a bad game. Yeah. But the penalties made it interesting, and then I think Sterling scored the winner, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
of course,
Sterling,
Kepa Sari fiasco happened that game. So yeah, I think penalties. If it comes to penalties, then probably it all comes down. It doesn't even come down to footballing ability. I think it just comes down to confidence. Because there are rumors that Ederson is going to be one of the penalty takers if it does happen.
Really?
Because there's a lot of talk about Ederson being the best penalty taker at City, but Guardiola does not obviously let him take one because the goal will be empty if he just take it. But I remember in one of the games he actually came to the half line and asked Bernardo if he could take it, and then Bernardo just stopped him.
That was against Tottenham, wasn't it?
I think. Yeah. And then Rodri took it, it was not convincing at all. So that he was not convincing. So there is some substance in Ederson taking it. Maybe he does if it goes to a penalty shooter, because then you don't have to worry about going back to your goal. But I mean, I personally don't think it'll go to penalty shootout. Like I feel the match will be decided inside 90 minutes. But I mean, I can't say who will win though. But I think the only way Chelsea win is probably sort of getting a goal early and
Yeah.
then sort of defending for their lives. That's the only way I see Chelsea, and that is what happened sort of in the FA Cup semi-final as well. That Chelsea scored first, and then City's morale had gone down. Whoever the players there were on that day, they're capable of scoring. So we can't say that it was the B team and whatever. I mean that team was perfectly capable of scoring a goal against Chelsea, but they didn't. So, and Chelsea defense has been good, has been really good. I think that back three, we've not played a lot of teams. City haven't played a lot of teams with a back three. So Chelsea are one of the teams which, actually deploy that. And it is, of course, very difficult to play against what becomes a back five out of a back three. So
The thing is with Tuchel, he changes it around a lot, because even when we go into defensive shape, we sometimes go at 4 at the back as well, and then we obviously shift into a 5 when we need to. I think sometimes we even shift to a 6, which is just mad in itself. Because I remember seeing that, I was like, wow, we're actually parking the bus here. But in that way, it suits us. But I'm just worried that Pep will have something figured out for this game. Or the fact that he's played against Tuchel twice, obviously he's lost both of them, but he knows he would sort of have an idea of how to replicate those losses, basically, which is why it's weird. I can kind of see maybe Kyle Walker playing right centre back, because obviously he's played there for England, and then maybe leave out one of Laporte or Stones, really, because Diaz is going to start. That's just an obvious, but I can actually see him leaving out one of Laporte or Stones for the final, and then obviously your fullbacks. I don't know. I'm still not convinced by your left wing back / left backs at the moment. Cancelo's been really good, to be fair. He'll be well up for it as well. And then obviously the midfield and the attack just speaks for itself. Like, it's just mesmerizing watching.
Yeah, I don't think Cancelo will even start. I don't think he'll start. I think
Cancelo, he wouldn't start, really?
Yeah. I think Zinchenko will start over him and Kyle Walker at right back, because
really, wow.
Zinchenko was absolutely superb against PSG the second leg. So and he sort of and Cancelo, I think he's not that good at left back. He's of course very good at the right side. He comes into midfield. I think on the left side he's sort of underwhelmed, and Zinchenko is a natural left footer, and he was so important for that goal when Ederson lobbed to him to Zinchenko. He gave it to De Bruyne, and then the rebound Mahrez scored. So Zinchenko, I think, will start. He has a lot of determination. Like, that guy, he came for 1.5 million, and I think he goes under the radar a lot in terms of, because he's not that outspoken, or he's just a nice guy. Yeah. So, but I think he's been very crucial for us in parts this season, and I think because of his performance against PSG, I think he's going to start. So, because Cancelo has sort of been a little lackluster the last month. So he hit his peak levels, which we saw this season. And then the last month, he's sort of been shaky. He got that red card against Brighton as well in the first 10 minutes. So I think with that in mind, maybe Zinchenko start. But of course, that's a debate. I think the only two debates are whether Zinchenko or Cancelo will start, or Rodri or Fernandinho. So that's sort of the only two debates when it comes. I think it's going to be a back four. I think Pep is going to stick with the side which beat Dortmund, which beat PSG. And he's now going to tinker. I think he's learned from previous experience. He tends to overthink. He even admits sort of that, and a lot of, I think, a lot of City fans don't want him to do that. They just want him to put out his best side, the side that has won the Premier League, the side that has won, come to the Champions League final. I think that's what all of us want. Yeah.
In terms of Chelsea threat, then, from whatever team you put out, are there any players that you sort of fear or you're kind of worried about?
I think a lot of fans are writing off Timo Werner in the sense that his finishing has obviously been poor. His season as a whole has not been one he would want to have. Like, when he joined Chelsea, everybody thought that he's going to bang goals left, right, and center, and he sort of started well in terms of he got a few goals early on, and then sort of dropped off, missed a lot of chances. Offside goals. I mean, he can be a very frustrating player, because I have friends.
Trust me,
they get very frustrated with Werner. But I think against the City side, who play sort of a high line, he's very important. Like, in terms of the runs in behind, and he is incredibly fast. So even though he's not on the sort of receiving end of balls, he can provide those balls, and I think that is why he has a lot of assists this season. that is why even though he underperforms, Tuchel always picks him because of the threat he poses, of the kind of chances he can make. And I think that's what we saw in the FA Cup semi-final. He played a ball to Ziyech and he basically scored. That was more of a goalkeeping error as well. Zach Steffen was way out of, I don't know what he was doing at that point, but I think that won't really happen with Ederson, maybe. But in terms of the threat, I think Timo Werner has, I think, the most threat because of his runs behind. If he can sort of not be offside and time those runs well, I think he's the only outlet which you can get sort of behind City's defense. And the other is, of course, Mason Mount, who has sort of come on his own this season, right? And even though he had a fantastic last season, I think the expectations of him were not that huge anyway. So whatever he did was wow. Like, we have a player from our academy. He's so good, almost like Phil Foden, like last season or the season before that. But both of them sort of this season have shown that they can do it at a very, very high level. And they're so young, and sort of their team is sort of banking on them now. Like there are times Chelsea have been sort of been nothing without Mount. Mount has carried Chelsea at times. Who would have thought that? Like, you guys literally signed Havertz, Ziyech, and Werner, and at the end of the day, an academy boy has sort of been the most important player, and that's sort of been the case with City as well with Foden. Like, nobody thought that he's going to replace Sterling or he's going to just cement his position in the starting 11, but that's what he's done. At 20 years old, he sort of nobody can displace him now. He's going to start at that left wing position. So they've had huge season, I think, and I think that will be very interesting because there has been a debate on social media and between Mount and Foden, and I think England fans are very lucky that they have both. But of course, I think that is a debate which will go on for years and years. Mount and Foden, I think both of them are excellent and can decide the games probably.
Yeah, it's weird you say that because, like, forget Manchester City v Chelsea. This is basically Mount versus Foden. And whoever wins comes out on top. That's essentially what it is. But are there any other sort of threats that you can think of where you guys can hurt Chelsea or where you feel confident at?
I think I think we can dominate the midfield, because I think Gondovan, if Gondovan does play, then the Gondovan, Bernardo, and De Bruyne sort of triangle is so good on the ball. Like, they can find easy pockets in midfield. They're very good retainers, carriers of the ball. And I think Bernardo has also gone under the radar because he doesn't have a lot of assists and goals. But he sort of changed his position. Like, he started off his City career on the right wing position. He used to cut inside and score goals. But now he sort of dropped off. He does sort of the behind the scenes work, pinging the balls in midfield, sort of relaying the ball to Mahrez, to the strikers. And he does not get a lot of goals and assists, but he's very fundamental to how City want to play. And I think Bernardo, his work rate is so immense. He will run around the entire field all the time. He will probably in every City game he has the most kilometers. So that is testament to how he plays and how important. Even though he's extremely skillful on the ball, probably his work rate comes on top, in the City side because we have players like De Bruyne and Mahrez who can decide games for you. So you need somebody to supply the ball to them. So I think that midfield battle is going to be very interesting. I think Kante is, like you said that you won't prefer Kante to play this game. But I think it's going to be interesting, like Kante versus De Bruyne or Kante versus Fernandinho if he plays that sort of midfield. Because, I mean, Kante's played the biggest games in his a World Cup final and all, a Euro final.
He's won it all, yeah.
There at the Euro final?
Euros, was he 2016? Was he? I don't think
he was in the squad. I don't think he started. I don't think he started. He was in the squad, yeah.
No, he didn't. Because that was just before, I think, he moved to Chelsea, I think. So I think he was in the squad but didn't start. I think, no.
Yeah. So, but he has a lot of experience. And I think Kante, like, you can't disrespect his ability, like, in terms of, like, of course, he's not going to assist or score, but he is so fundamental to Chelsea winning the ball back. And I think City are going to dominate possession. So the only way Chelsea sort of score a goal is from that Kante interception and then probably a ball to Werner, and then sort of Chelsea have a chance. So I think that's the only way Chelsea.
I think that's the problem with Kante though, because I wouldn't say I'm not saying at all he's hated at all, but a lot of Chelsea fans, like, including me as well. I'll put my hands up and say this, but he lacks so much in the sense as well, but he gains so much from our team as well. He offers so much, but he lacks so much as well at the same time, which is why it's kind of frustrating having Kante in the team. But don't get me wrong, he's an amazing player. Like he's carried us in games at times, especially in the Champions League this season. Even the league has been fantastic. But it's the fact that it's good. He wins the ball. This is the cycle. Kante wins the ball. He'll run up the field, but then he'll mess up a pass, and that's what's so frustrating about Kante. But then when they go up the other end, he'll win the ball back somehow. Like, wow, how's he done that? So you gain something, but then you lose something with Kante in the team, which is why it's so 50-50. But I love the guy anyway. He's done so much for this club, and off the field as well, he's a great person as well. So it's interesting actually, because I think from our perspective, I think the way I'll start with players I fear in City. God, I'll just name the whole 11 to be honest. But but I think if I had to pick 3 players, I'd say the obvious two, Foden and De Bruyne, are the two that I sort of fear. But I think one person I do sort of fear is Mahrez, just because of how he's performed in the Champions League and recently in the league as well. And he'll be playing on the right, won't he?
Yeah.
So he'll come up against probably Ben Chilwell and Antonio Rudiger, which I'm somewhat confident about because of how Rudiger's done. But Mahrez, we all know Mahrez has got a skill in him, and if he gets past Rudiger, I can see Rudiger making a stupid tackle, which he has done in previous years. But Rudiger's definitely been one of our best players since Tuchel's taken over. He's very underrated, but I'm just glad he might not be playing on the left just because of how old, should I say, Aspie is as well, because Azpilicueta might not have the pace to catch up with him. Even though he's great defensively, I don't think he's been caught out for pace a lot of times, Azpilicueta. That's why Thomas Tuchel sort of played Reece James at right centre back at times and Aspie as a right wing back, which I hope don't happen again because it doesn't work. Like, I hate it. I hate playing Aspie right wing back and Reece at right centre back. I think I can understand why, but it just doesn't work. Like, it didn't work against Arsenal, it didn't work against Leicester. It's just, what's the point? But then we sort of lose that defensive stability at right centre back, but then we lose that attacking threat at right wing back. So we basically lose two great qualities basically. And then if you just swap them around, it's fantastic for us. But those are the 3 players I sort of fear. And less Mahrez, but more Foden, De Bruyne, because of what you said about the midfield. I think you guys would over on the midfield, and then it's just about how defensively astute the centre backs are really. Aspie, Thiago Silva, and Rudiger looks most likely be. But I think going the other way though, I think ways we can hurt you are definitely the way. I think the right backs and left backs. I think I've always said that if you're looking at a weakness in the City team, I think it's those positions. Regardless of how good Cancelo is, he's fantastic. But I do think that we can hurt you guys in those positions because we'll have that extra width with Ben Chilwell and Reece James potentially on the wing backs, and also with Timo Werner, like you said, with how City play high line and stuff. I think you can make some good runs. I've always said Timo Werner's best attribute this season has been his work off the ball, because his runs are sensational. And then those people don't notice, but his runs get ignored so much. Like, you can always see him on the move, but nobody ever plays the ball to him. It's like we miss Cesc Fabregas, man. He's one player I do miss because he could pick out a pass or like. And that's just the problem with us. We don't really have those players who can pick out a pass. As good as Mount is as well, his final ball still needs work on. But I don't know, it's tough, man. It's tough. Those are the positions I sort of fear. But yeah, any other thoughts on City or Chelsea then before we get into predicted lineups and score predictions?
Yeah, I think about having sort of a deep line playmaker is like I have this discussion with Chelsea fans a lot in terms of sort of the lack of ability Jorginho, Kovacic, and Kante have in that area, like a Fabregas, or even like in our team we have somebody like Gundogan who does that role. Sort of De Bruyne is already there who can play that killer pass, but we have Gundogan as well who plays a lot of through balls, a lot of pings over the top. So I think that player is very important, especially when you're coming up against a side who is so good attacking wise. They want to keep attacking. So whatever chance you get, you have to make the most of it, and then you need sort of that quality on the ball to have that perfect ball to Werner or whoever. So I think, of course, it's very important. I think it's going to be a cagey game in the sense that finals are always cagey. So I can't say that it's going to be a one-sided game because it's not going to be. I don't think so. I think it's going to be cagey, and then probably it'll open up a little later.
That's the problem. Like,
And,
if it's cagey,
yeah.
then I'm just worried. We'll create chances for sure, but we've been so poor in front of goal. It's just that I feel like I'm worried about us wasting chances, and then Man City will have 2-3 chances and score 3 goals just like that. But then we'll probably score 1 out of 5, for example, which is why it's also scary, the fact that we're not clinical at all. And it's weird because when we play against Man City in the league, we were opposite Chelsea team because a player actually scored outside the box for once, which in Ziyech scored outside the box. I was like, what the hell? Is this Chelsea? And then we actually came back from a goal down as well. So it was a completely new Chelsea team that I saw that game. So Karen, what you're saying, bro.
Yeah, I think just that, like, no more thought in general. I think I'm just replaying a lot of scenarios in my head in terms
I think we
of
all
how
are. I think we both are, to be fair.
Like I have also thought of us getting a red card in the first half, so like it can't be worse than that.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised from either team. Like, maybe Fernandinho makes a stupid tackle for us. Like, I don't know, maybe Jorginho or Kovacic get 2 yellow cards or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get on to a predicted lineup then. You go first, actually. Who do you think is going to make the starting 11 for you guys?
So, of course, it's my opinion. I think that's going to be the lineup from what we've seen. But if I speak without Gondovan in the starting 11, I think I should do that because we're not sure.
Yeah.
I do both. I do both probably with Gondovan, without Gondovan. So I think, of course, Ederson is going to start in goal. I think Walker is a nailed-on starter because he had a sort of patchy start of the season, but he's become one of the most important players again because his recovery, his pace, and sort of stopping counterattacks is huge. And I think he's going to be very immense against somebody like Werner, who will constantly try to make those moves behind. I think Walker's pace really helps us. So he's a no-brainer at right back. And I think Diaz and Stones pick themselves in terms of they've been. I don't think so Laporte will play because I think Diaz obviously is a no-brainer, but I think because of his partnership against Stones, because they're so comfortable with each other, there are not a lot of times that Diaz and Laporte have played together. They've probably played together like 5 times this season, but Stones and Diaz have been together since probably the start. So I think that partnership is really good. They understand each other well, and it's very important to our season. I think that's how we're going to line up at centre back. And a lot of debate is, of course, Zinchenko and Cancelo. But like I said, it's going to be Zinchenko, I think.
Not Mendy? Mendy's not within a shout? No.
I think Mendy's game against Chelsea sort of rules him out completely.
True,
Like, he had a
Reece
blind...
James ripped him up second half.
Reece James absolutely cooked him in that on that wing. So Mendy, no chance. Is between Cancelo and Zinchenko. I think Zinchenko will play purely because he sort of has that hunger. He sort of has that determination. I think he played really well against PSG. He sort of gave that free assist to Mahrez also. He was immense defensively as well, coming against somebody like Di Maria as well. So that is huge for your confidence. And I think Zinchenko starts. And about Rodri and Fernandinho, a lot of debate has also gone in that. But I think Fernandinho starts because we need sort of that leadership in the final. And we need somebody who can, even if things go wrong, somebody who can calm sort of the team, who can shout at players. I think Rodri is not at that level yet. He's still very young. I think Fernandinho suddenly gives you a different dimension, and he's going to make his presence felt. And he's sort of that bastard in this beautiful side, right?
That's true.
Like
Fernandinho. He is, yeah.
So he will do all the dark arts, the tactical fouls, and he will get in under the skin of the opposition. And he's
I'm just waiting for Mason Mount to rip him up again like he did in the semi-final. That's it.
Yeah, so I think Fernandinho is very important. I think he showed that against PSG as well. He got Di Maria sent off at the end of the day. So it's somebody who can. That's probably a Fernandinho who can do that. And I think we need our captain on the day. So I think purely on that basis, I think Fernandinho starts. And if Gondovan plays, I think Gondovan Bernardo fill the rest of the midfield with Mahrez, Foden, and De Bruyne as the false nine.
What a team.
So that sort of picks in themselves. And I think if I repeat again that if Gundogan does not play, I think De Bruyne will go back into midfield, and then we can have another attacking player, which will be, I think, City will get more attacking, I think, but I think there's a chance Rodri and Fernandinho also play together and sort of give that defensive shield. Maybe Pep would want that as well. But then we sort of get handicapped in attack. So I think if Gundogan does not play, we're going to have De Bruyne slot into midfield. And I think De Bruyne is at his best when he plays in that RCM, LCM sort of position. He can provide against Everton. I don't think if you saw the game.
I watched the goals. Yeah.
He was absolutely ruthless. Like De Bruyne was at his game. He was so ready for that game, and he was playing in his usual position. But of course, in the Champions League, he's played sort of that false nine, so he can't impact the game as well. But his finishing is also improved, in the last couple of seasons. So his shots and everything is also very important to us. But I think De Bruyne playing in midfield sort of is a blessing in disguise. Could be a blessing in disguise for us as well. Gundogan's injury. So I don't know. I think this is the team which is sort of set in stone. But also Pep could surprise us, but I don't think he will. So
no mention of Sergio Aguero. He doesn't make your team, or he won't start.
No.
Last game for City as well.
I would love for him to start purely because he's Chelsea. He scored so many goals against Chelsea. He loves scoring against Chelsea. He has 2 hat-tricks against Chelsea, and but I think in terms of how the talks with Barcelona, the fact that he's leaving the club, so he does not have a lot of focus, I think, in his head, which is why Pep would not trust him to start this game, and he hasn't started any of the quarterfinals, any of the semi-finals. So I don't think he will trust Aguero in this game. He didn't even start the Everton game. So as much as City, it would be poetic for Aguero to start. I don't think so. He will start, and he can obviously show. He showed what he can do from off the bench. He scored 2 goals in 20-25 minutes. So that's his quality. Maybe he comes on if he need a goal, or if we're sailing through. Maybe either of the 2 occasions he can come on. So it'll be lovely to see him get some minutes, but I don't think he's starting at all. I think Guardiola does not have him in his plans, and I think it really, as disappointing it is, it's sort of you have to pick players on merit. You have to pick players on how they've played throughout the season. That's and true. Even though Aguero is probably on his day is the best player City have, and the greatest goal scorer of all time in terms of City and in the Premier League. So we would love to see him get a few minutes, but I don't think he won't start.
Do you know what? If he starts, I hope he's taking a penalty, man, because I want more of the same of what happened, man. That penalty, man. I still remember it, man. I was like, what the hell just happened? But yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for your starting lineup and stuff. I'll get on to Chelsea's one actually. So speaks for itself. Mendy in goal. No explanation. We don't want spaghetti hands in goal. Then right wing back. Reece James slots in right wing back. We've seen what he can do against your left-hand side, and he's been fantastic this season as well. Then this is interesting. A right centre back would be between Christensen and Azpilicueta. I think Azpi will start, obviously because he's the captain, and also he's been immense since Tuchel's come as well. But it's annoying that Christensen wouldn't get in. But then I won't be surprised if Tuchel plays Christensen right centre back and Azpilicueta right wing back, for example. I hope that doesn't happen, but Christensen sits out, unfortunately. But Azpi right centre back, central centre back has to be Thiago Silva. Bundles of experience, most experienced player, I think, out of the both teams. So we definitely need him. Really
also
good left
on the back
back
of a final, so he's going to be hungry.
Exactly. One would hope he is. Like, he's got that elite mentality. He's won almost everything. So this would be the perfect sort of send off for him when he goes after next season. Because obviously he's here for another year. So it'd be good to add it to his trophy collection and CV and stuff. So Rudiger left centre back just speaks for itself. He's been fantastic. Like I say, criminally underrated since Tuchel's arrived. Provides that pace and like shithousery that you love from a defender. And left wing back has to be Ben Chilwell because I don't want Marcus Alonso starting. Imagine when Alonso starts and Mahrez is playing. God, I'm gonna close my eyes every time. He'll spin it inside and out, man. No jokes. Man. With Chilwell, he provides more defensive stability, and he's also been good going forward as well. And you can really hurt your right-hand side, I think, as well. So Ben Chilwell starts left wing back. This is the hardest bit now. The two in midfield. Ooh, it's hard. I think it'll be Kante and Jorginho. Also factor in the fact that Kovacic and Jorginho played against Villa, and Kovacic is coming back from a long-term injury as well. So I think it'll be Kante and Jorginho, but then I wouldn't be surprised if it's Kante, Kovacic and Jorginho. Sorry, but it's hard because even Gilmore didn't get a shout out in this because I thought he was good against City when we played against you guys. Obviously he gave away the penalty first half. He was a bit shaky, but I thought after that he was quite composed and quite good. And plus it's a final, so I don't want young Billy Gilmore starting in the final because that's too much pressure on the kid. But yeah, midfield is gonna be hard. Kante, Jorginho, I think it will be. And then we get on to the three attackers. This is hard now. I think Timo Werner definitely starts. I think he'll be definitely one of the starters. He will start left forward. Like you said, he provides a lot of threat, and stats show that he's been our best attacker this season. So we've got to start Werner, I think, at left forward. Right forward's interesting now. It's tough because you got Pulisic, you got Ziyech, and then obviously you got Mount as well. Mason Mount's obviously going to start, so I have to slot him in right forward as well. So and then up front, so we've got a lot of choice, to be fair. We've obviously got Giroud, Abraham. Those two would definitely want to start. So I reckon it'll be Kai Havertz up front. He's proved that he can do well in the centre forward because, like you said, that deep line playmaker, he's really good at that. And I feel like physically, maybe against John Stones, he could probably do him for that. Maybe not Diaz, but I feel like he's got the trickery to really impact the game. But it'll be interesting, to be fair, what kind of team we put out because we're missing out some key players, to be fair, for us, like Pulisic not starting, Ziyech maybe not starting as well. Like I said, Kovacic or Kante not starting. Jorginho's definitely.
Do you think Ziyech will start because he scored a couple of goals?
Yeah, that's the thing. In the Champions League, Ziyech has been fantastic this season. Forget his league form. In the Champions League, he's been really good, which is why it makes it even harder. But Tuchel can't drop Mount. I think Mount is integral to the way we play. Mason Mount's position is nailed on. Maybe the left forward and striker / centre forward positions up for grabs, but we could even see Mount, Werner, and maybe Pulisic as a front three, which I wouldn't mind at the same time as well. But I feel like we need someone physical up front because against Diaz especially, we'll need someone to hold him off, and as well as Stones. But yeah, it's hard, man. Our front three is just not nailed on at all. Our best performance was.
I think Mount and Werner start. I think Mount and Werner definitely start. It's between Ziyech, Pulisic and Havertz.
Yeah, see, we've got so many of these players. It's just you obviously can't fit them in, so it's difficult. It's really hard. Any front three, I won't be surprised with. The most surprised I will be if Mount don't start, which I highly doubt. So it'll be interesting. But
it's kind of strange why Tuchel does not pick Giroud, hasn't picked Giroud at all in the last sort of month. And I think he's played so many finals. He's so experienced, and I think he can do a lot of damage to that City backline more than Havertz can. That's what I feel like Giroud, even though he can win headers, he can sort of lay off the ball to the midfielders and he can hold up play and all of that. So I think he's very important, but I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes between them. So probably he's leaving.
To be honest, I'm all for Giroud starting. I wouldn't mind if he started tomorrow, but realistically, it's not going to happen. And like you said, maybe the fact that he wants to go as well is a factor. Abraham's not getting a look in at all. He's definitely gone. He's definitely going to start against Man City. So yeah, it's just it's so tough to predict, man. It's so tough to predict the starting 11. I think it's more nailed on for City. You kind of know what the City team's going to be. Yeah. But with Chelsea, it's just all mix and match every time. Apart from the sort of back six in a sense. The other, I don't know, other five players is difficult. It's really hard. But we'll get on to the score predictions then before we wrap this up. I'll let you go first as you're the guest. What's the score prediction for the big one on Saturday?
It's so difficult to call a final. I'm going to go for a City win in normal time. A 2-0 City win.
2-0. Who are your scorers?
I think Mahrez will be one. I think Mahrez is going to score. I think it's between. We'd love a Foden goal. I think Manchester is going to go wild if Phil Foden manages to somehow score. So I would want Phil Foden to score, but I think De Bruyne has a great record against Chelsea. He always sort of comes up against Chelsea, and he scored so many vital goals for us. So I won't, and especially in that false nine position, if De Bruyne does play there, he'll get a lot of chances, and I see him sort of bearing one. So I want it to be a comfortable win. That's why I'm going for 2-0, but I don't think it'll be that comfortable. I think it'll be KG. It could go down to the wire. So anything can happen. But yeah, of course, I would like to believe that it's going to be a City 2-0 win.
Yeah, fair enough. And for me, man, don't know. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'll say 1-0 Chelsea win. I think. Like you said, I think it'll be KG, but I just feel like it's going to go how the other games have gone in the sense where we've kind of smashed and grabbed in a sense, and I feel like it might be the same again this time. Because I think in terms of the game, I think it'll go how we expect it to be, where City will have loads of the ball and we'll be sitting back, and I think maybe one counter attack will score and then hold on. So I think I'll go 1-0, and I think Mason Mount as the goal scorer. I think Mason Mount will score in the final. I think Werner will be critical. I think Werner will pass the ball to Mount or something, then score. But yeah, I think Mason Mount will score in the final.
So both of us are saying that both teams are not going to score, in our.
But do you know what? I won't be surprised if it's 0-0, and maybe
it's going to be low scoring. It could be low scoring. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. I'm nervous already, man. Even though it's still it's not even a long way away. I was about to say it's a long way away, but nah, it's not at all, man. So the last game of the season is mad as well. But before we wrap this up, any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
No, I think the only thing which I can take away is that if we manage to lose, then I don't think next season we're going to do any podcast together. That I think will sort of be set in stone. That I'd have to take a goodbye from the If I Speak podcast.
I hope.
But no, it was wonderful chatting with you, and I think this is a good way of sort of channeling our nerves, because I've been nervous the entire day, but I feel a little more fun, excited and all of that for the game now because I'm talking to you, and I think that sort of calms. So great talking to you, and I hope it'll be a good game. Of course, it's going to be one winner, so I think we can just hope for a good game. And hope for the best, maybe. I don't know. May the best team win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, summed up perfectly there. And it's just worrying that our form going into the final is not great. But yeah, it's great chatting to you, Mehul. And don't forget to check out Mehul and his boys' Instagram, Talking Barefoot on Instagram, and check out our Instagram as well. We're quite active on there as well as our Twitter. And stay tuned for more content. And up the Chels. Come on, boys.